It is said that it is sub judice to comment on an ongoing case. That one, I agree. But it is unfair for the government to act with impunity while expecting us to honor the law. Na tukisema tungwe, that is very unfair. NJERI has been released on a cash bail. It's cash bond. Now, people, you may ask me, what is the difference between a cash bail and a cash bond? Usually they say three things. There is you can be told to, you are released on a cash bail. Bail. Bailing somebody out. Bailing. In Kiswahili say kujitoa. Umejitoa. A fisherman, you are fishing. So you have that hook, you go and bail out a fish from. So that is how his cash bail is. Bailing. Bond, you don't pay the money. You bind yourself. When they talk of bonding of 100,000, it means that you have to look for an item worth 100,000 shillings and over. Cash bail, you can even hear cash bail. You bail yourself with the cash. Bond of 100,000. Now let us talk of 100,000. Cash bail of 100,000. You go into your pocket, get 100,000 shillings, give it to them, they give you a receipt, and you walk out. Bond of 1,000. You bind yourself. You give an item, a title deed. You give out a title deed. You give out a car logbook, such things, worth of that amount or more, not less or more. Now, if you jump bail, you'll be asked to explain why you didn't come to court. If you don't convince them, the 100,000 is gone. If it is a title deed or anything, the land or the vehicle is sold, and then you are given the excess amount. If it is 1,000,000, you are given 900. If it is 120, you are given the 20,000 on top. So that is the difference between cash bail, bond, and then there is also a surety. There is a surety. Nowadays, I hear they like talking of contact person, but during my time they used to say surety. I don't know why they have changed the name. Maybe people don't like the name surety. Surety is just a human being who can make sure that you appear in court. If you don't appear in court, they go to that person. Nowadays, I hear them calling a person of contact. They have even gone to an extent saying that the person should not be a relative. Yeah. If you come from Cardinal Tunga's family, Sudi had 60 wives. So you have 100. You have 900 stepbrothers. Nowadays they say that previously they used to say surety. Nowadays they say contact person who should not be your relative. I think I've explained that. NJERI has been released on, I think, a bond. She has been binded. This case, I'm sure that this case will not proceed. It will be stopped via a nolle prosequi after half a dozen appearances. They are going to appear around 6 times On that day, they will have whatever. I think it is 16th June when they meet, when she's making an appearance. Then on 16th, the case will be told, okay, we will start on such and such a day. Somewhere up there, the case will end through a nolle prosequi. If you see, you have heard the word pronounced prosequi. It comes from prosecution. Nolle is none, none. So non-prosecution. It means that the prosecution side does not want to continue prosecuting. It will stop doing that until they get further evidence, or the case just dies that way. Most of the cases are terminated that way. This is what used to happen in Kanu days. This is what used to Kanu days. Let nobody cheat you that the police were investigating anything. Let nobody cheat you that the police will investigate anything. The one and only intention was that the Madaraka weekend gave them an appropriate excuse of lengthening her stay. During when I joined the police, because by the time I left, things had changed. When I left the police, you could be placed in the police cells for as long as the police want. But it was changed that you must appear before court within 24 hours. You must appear before court within 24 hours. So nowadays they use that excuse. She was arrested on Friday, knowing that anybody arrested on Friday is supposed to appear in court on Monday. But knowing that Sunday is a public holiday, so extended to Monday, they appropriately placed her in cells to lengthen her stay. That is what they want. In fact, they've gotten what they want. So they are just looking for an appropriate time to terminate the case. Just like you enter a matatu, a pickpocket picks your wallet, isn't it? He would want to alight, but he cannot alight when the bus is fast, going very fast. First of all, he may fall and have an accident, or people will wonder why he's getting out so quickly, and he'll have sold himself. So he'll look for an appropriate next bus stop to alight. That is what they are doing. The whole thing was planned for her to stay as long as possible, since the weekend was long and it gave them all that they wanted. This is a message to her, and this is a message to all other bloggers who would want to go against the finance bill or any other thing, but in this particular case, it is the finance bill. They are just waiting for a few technical appearances, then withdraw the case. I am repeating that to emphasize my point. The president and the country has its worst enemies in the people who violently support the president and other political leaders. We have political leaders, including the president. I remember recently when I criticized the president, and somebody thinks that for him to be very loyal to the president, he has to be seen to be attacking me and forcing everybody to toe in line. My intention is to be very neutral, not to, okay, I have people I support, I have whatever I do, but that one is very private. The intention of this channel is to be as neutral as possible. But if this is what I would tell the people who support the president and come to my comment and write very harsh things, and even those people who are against the president who think occasionally, not occasionally, on many occasions, I'm for president. I don't intend to use this channel to show the person the person or philosophy that I support. No, I may have failed in my attempt to showing that my neutrality, but I would tell somebody who opposes or even proposes, if there is a political leader whom you are very much attached to, the best way to assist him is not to whip people people who appear to oppose him or her into certain thinking or whatever. It's not good to be militant. It is good at least to show the other side of the points, or even reach out to your candidate and tell him, yes, you are very popular, but I see point M and O, you should change, you should alter this way and that way. The person to change is the candidate, but not the elector. In my opinion, your best friend is the one who tells you what you need to hear. That is, I'm talking of the prominent leaders. Your best friend is the one who tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. I say this because in my last article on her, I could see some blind Ruto supporters responding rudely, and from their writing, they are knowledgeable enough, but want to be seen as protecting the president violently. There is a way you just look at the way somebody is writing in his articles and contributing in topics, and you know that this person is intelligent. But just like Grobler showed us during Hitler's time, the worst people are the educated, the intellectuals who prop up a leader and in many cases make him be a dictator. Now, where do I start? My target in life is to tell you what I totally believe in. Whether I support you or not, I intend to tell you what I believe in. That is how Special Branch was, DSI was, NSIS was, and NIS is. We tell you the truth, we give you the options and whatever, then it is up to you. It is up to you to make the correct choices. After getting the correct, the only time the intelligence people feel sorry is that you do a decision or we make a decision and then we discover that we did not adequately inform you of the consequences. If we didn't tell you of the consequences, then we feel guilty. But we tell you A, B, C, D, and we tell you the consequences of A, B, C, D. Of A is this, B is this, up to D. Say A, you take A, there is the good thing and bad, these are the good things and bad thing of A, good things and bad things of B, that way up to D. Now we leave it for you to, that is where our mandate ends. Kenyans, politicians are the opposite of what I intend to be. Politicians are the opposite of what I intend to be. Rigid guy cannot see anything good in the government, while Rigiji, the guy, Rigiji, yeah, or can I call it the rigid guy? The rigid guy cannot see anything good in the government, while Badi cannot see anything bad in the government. Now, with such people, because according to Bandi, the lady was passing information. Let me just say, if we have people like Rigiji or rigid guy, if you have people like rigid guy and Bandi, we'll get nothing. Because Rigiji all the time will be saying, buy them both. We are just waiting for 2027. We should have somebody, whether overtly or covertly, supports the government, but somebody who, when the government is doing good, say, okay, I don't support the government. I am a one-term person, but here Ruto has done something good. Or you support Ruto, say kazi bila break. or kumi bila break. And then you say, okay, I support Ruto a lot, but hapa alikosea. We should have somebody who admits that he's mrengo ule or mrengo ule. You know, the correct word is mlengo, but politics you say mrengo. He's mrengo ule au mrengo ule, but says that the other side is right. Or if he is mlengo who, say our side, although I am in your side, but this time we are wrong. Now, Bandi says that the lady was passing misinformation. Why don't you correct her? Yeah. She is misinformed and she's passing the misinformation. That is a very good opportunity to tell the people that actually if you belong to this school of thought, then actually it is not as it appears. The correct appearance is this and this. Misinformation is treated by giving the correct version. My little knowledge of both English and law tells me that misinformation is not covered in cybercrime. It is covered under penal code. Now, I've just described generally the meaning of misinformation and how they would do it. But if you decide to take up in law legally, even before we had these computers and whatever, because I remember, was it late 80s or early 90s? I think it was mid 90s. Somebody went to Nairobi and found an office where people were watching, and people were handling those old computers. The person went back home and told people, hey, the office that my cousin works in, they don't work. All of them are employed to look at televisions. So even before that time, there was penal code, and the penal code covered misinformation. If you look at committee, Kenya Prison Services, you'll find that they are changing their name. They used to be called prison services, but nowadays they prefer being called corrective services. Those days, in the 90s, 80s, 70s, and 60s, when somebody did wrong and he was convicted, the intention was to penalize him. That is why the name penal code is. It is to penalize him. Penalty, like in the your penalty. So it is penalizing somebody. But nowadays, it is called corrective services. You are taken there to be corrected. And since those days, uh, for you to be penalized, you are penalized for giving misinformation. But nowadays, the world is changing to an extent of a good idea is a better idea. I know a good idea is replaced by a better idea. If she is misinforming people deliberately and knowingly, then why don't you give a more clearer but after all, the president has so many advisors that they can fill in a classroom. What is their job? That is their job. So if you believe that she's misinforming people deliberately, then why not give out a alternative? Or if you must take her to court, then take her under the penal code. But then to show that I've noticed, sorry to say, I've noticed that the DCI nowadays, they arrest, especially when they are targeting, I've already said that, I need not to say, but when they are targeting bloggers, they arrest a blogger and then decide on what to charge. You can see how stupid they looked in court. Now she's been charged for giving misinformation, isn't it? Then if you are giving misinformation, then how do you give evidence in court that she had set up a website that was blocking or clogging. It was blocking or clogging the, the what do you call, the emails of the parliament. Clogging and blocking the emails is not a misinformation. That is what we have when you place their people. You better place people there who are more educated but not more loyal. And if loyalty comes in, let them be loyal to the truth. If whatever she was passing was not factually correct, why not engage her? I think I've said that. They should have engaged her and then corrected her. With her multitude of followers, if they correct her, she would go in once in in a while. Some of them even go back to the people whom she had misinformed and given them that have been corrected this way and this way. Does it mean that DCI does not know what is called public participation? Because what she's doing is public participation. She has formed an opinion about the finance bill, and she's giving her opinion, and she's trying to do what? To whip people into her type of thinking. Now, such a person is very good to recruit. Such a person is very good to recruit. If you are a politician, you must be aware of this case where you identify somebody in a certain area or a certain clan or whatever. You just know that, in this place, in this constituency, if you want lawyers to support you, don't go and call all the lawyers. Eh? Babalando, Babalando is very famous. Just convince, just recruit Babalando. If you recruit Lando's father, be assured that it is even possible all lawyers will support you. Now, the same case with this lady. If she has numerous followers and she is misinformed, why don't you give her the right information? It is quite possible that she'll go back to those people and give them the correct version. I am a founder member of current affairs in technical high school. It is now called the technical high school Nairobi. It is now called Nairobi National Polytechnic. I am a founding member of current affairs in technical. I am also the founding chairman of current affairs in Bungoma High School during my A level, advanced level. Unlike debating club, current affair club is to table all that you know per Rwanja. You know, in debating club, you say you are in the opposition. Current affairs, there's no opposition. I can say that debating is Westminster kind of parliamentary, is it? And current affairs is the presidential system, whereby a topic is brought, and when you are given time to discuss, you give the pros and cons of everything, so that at the end of the day you come up with something. That is what I believe is with the new constitution. We go there. If you find somebody, you have prepared a bill, and you find somebody who agrees with it in total, don't engage that person in any discussion. You, on the other hand, you find somebody who disagrees with it in total. Don't involve yourself with the two. Find somebody who agrees with certain aspects and disagrees with certain aspects. Then collect all those people together, and then find, you know, in the Westminster type, you find that there are those who are opposing the motion and there are those who are proposing the motion in totality and in totality. But if you find somebody who agrees with some and disagrees with some, you sit down with them and reason with them, and then at the end of the day, you come up with a mostly agreeable a document and say, this is our document. That is what presidential system is. By openly showing her ignorance, that is an opportunity for those who know better to correct her. I am repeating myself there, but they say repeating is emphasizing. Repeating is emphasizing. As I said in my first video on NJERI, I have not read what she did or her thoughts. I cannot say. The only thing I know about her is that she has said that people should reject the the bill. I have not seen, and I've not even read the bill, the treasury bill today. I have reasons for that. What the government wants, what the government gets. That is my policy. So if you look at even the public participation on the bill, you'll participate. They'll pass the bill the way they want. Hmm? But later on, they'll bring something that they call mini budget. Democracy means I am ready to die for you to express your views, even if I don't agree with you. In fact, democracy is even more sweeter for me to tear you, especially when I know that you are not of my political or we are not on the same side of the coin. And I'm really pro you to give you an opportunity to speak, especially, I repeat, when I know that we are on the opposing side. My understanding of what she was doing is simply this, that she was whipping up people to reject the bill. She was also using a channel where everyone who has agreed with her would channel their rejection to the MPs directly. If that is not public participation, then I don't know what public participation is. Can somebody tell me what public participation is? Malkiat Singh was the head of English department at Technical High School, Nairobi during my time. And as a student of Malkiat Singh, I can say that what she was doing is public participation. And Bandi's view and what Ruto's government has been doing is telling people one thing and doing the other thing, or misinforming the thing, pretending that there is, it is democratic while this, they say vitengo vya sheria, yeah, vitengo vya sheria are becoming dictatorial. Reminds one of the Amin State Research Bureau. It is a crime not to, is it a crime to not to disagree with the government? I'm asking, is it a crime not to agree with the government? The way the government is performing is that if you don't agree with them, then they treat you as, what do you call, subversive. Yeah, subversive. The word was, it is really funny for an intelligence officer to forget the word subversive. It is like Pentecostal people, they cannot forget hallelujah or Bwana asifiwe. Every sentence, an intelligence officer cannot complete a 5 minutes discussion without the word subversion. Any of my subscription, doing a paid up, on any, do we have any, I don't know how to put it. Let me rephrase it again. Do you have any of my subscribers doing a PhD in political science? Ruto's government can make a very good thesis for PhD on political science. At a certain time, I tell myself, I now know what Ruto government stands for. The next moment, I discover that I am totally wrong. You know, Ruto and his government can tell you something, you follow and say, okay, this is how I understand. You see, I may agree, but let me tell you one thing. Personally, as an individual and as an intelligence officer, I look for understanding what you do and what you stand for. I don't look for I don't go out there to make you win me over your side or me to win you over my side. No, no, no. God made us to disagree. And if you find a country where everybody's agreeing, that is a dictatorship. So whenever we have a discussion with you, in many ways, almost all the ways, I don't intend to convince you to come to my side. No. That okay, maybe I've done that, but that is not my intention. My intention is to clearly understand what you stand for. And if I was still in NIS, I would have gone to the office and written that report. But since I have no access to NIS offices, I understand you and record that in my head. There are so many files in my head, I just recorded them. So I just want to understand you. I don't intend to convince you. I don't want to do whatever. No, no, no. Ujasusi umeniingia. So mine is not to convince you. Mine is to understand what you stand for. Two, if you want me to give you opinions, I don't tell you this is the right. I was trained to tell you that this side, the positive and negatives are this and that. And that side, the positive and negative are this and that. And then I let you. That is what I was trained to. Whether I keep to my training or not, it is you now to tell me. But that is what I try to do. Now, I asked, I'll repeat again. Do we have any of my subscribers doing PhD in political science? Because Ruto's government can make a very good thesis for you if you are doing a PhD on political science. Why do I say that? At a certain time, I tell myself, I now know what the Ruto government stands for. The next moment, I discover that I am totally wrong. Ruto apologized to the Tanzanian government. I ask myself, what for? I thought it was the Tanzanian president to apologize to Ruto for attempting to abduct a certain lady, Mwasi Kitoko. Yeah. If you want to understand, Fumu Kibangu will tell you. I hope Marie Jose is not listening. Fumu Kibangu will tell you that the lady whom Tanzanian authority wanted to abduct in Nairobi was Mwasi Kitoko. It is the Tanzanian government which is supposed to apologize to the Kenyan government for trying to abduct the Mwasi Kitoko in Nairobi. It was for the Tanzanian president to apologize to Ruto for the treatment that Boniface Mwangi went through. Hey, Jama, hey, okay, maybe in Kiganjo we understand. Ruto anapigwa kofi alafu anasema thank you sir. Anyway, I'm also good in jokes. I don't remember Kenyan security forces trying to abduct Kenyans the way Besigye was done. I don't remember Kenyan security forces trying to abduct Kenyans in Kampala. Although during my time it happened that Koigi Wamwere was abducted on the Ugandan soil. The people who come from Busia will tell you that there are two towns which share the same name. There are two towns both called Busia. So Koigi Wamwere was abducted in Busia town, Uganda, but not Busia town in Kenya. So those are the days when maybe maybe Ruto was apologizing for Koigi Wamwere being abducted in Uganda. Maybe, I don't know. Mudavadi of the Foreign Affairs Ministry blames the Kenyans for visiting neighboring countries. Really? I think in future people, the ministers of foreign affairs should be diplomats. Sasa huyu jamaa wa land surveyor anafikiri hiyo ni Kabiru. Who advised the president to apologize during the prayer day? Who really? Aki. Some of us, if we are made to be the president's advisor, we would we would have told him not to attempt to talk that time. But then, with his 40 advisors, I'm told that Samoe advises, no, Ruto advises Samoe on what to tell the president. But first and foremost, why revive an old issue? When we are approaching the anniversary, remember the the day that the GNC scaled the parliament. The day the GNC scaled the parliament is the anniversary is coming, and the president talks. Maybe he should have talked that around July or whatever, because somebody may even try to pick up that story and be the topic of that day and revive the day when somebody, was it Kalonzo Musyoka, was talking of declaring that day as GNC Day. It was a wrong topic at the wrong time, but then the President William Samoei Ruto and Raila and the people with the Raila type of politics, seeing a crowd somewhere and given a microphone, they anyway, let me not talk that. Of course, as Murkomen said on JKL Live, Ruto gets excited in the presence of a microphone and a crowd. Ruto has also developed a habit of action being the opposite of his words. Ruto can say something, and the thing that is happening on the ground vitu ni different. Why should he seek for forgiveness from our young citizen, and within hours, NJERI is in police cells? Even if the youths are aligning themselves to utilize the goodwill message, they'll find themselves at a crossroad. They'll just say, now the president has said that he wants forgiveness and he wants a new chapter to go. And then why arrest NJERI? So that is why I say that what Ruto says and what the government is doing is quite opposite. Gone are the days when I was a special branch officer in Habaswein. Because those days, the president would come to Mandera, talk to people in Mandera, then board a plane, go back to Nairobi, and the things that he has told the people of Mandera stays there. Nowadays, you go to Lodwa, people monitor you from Lunga Lunga. The moment you talk, the person who is in that stadium, Lodwa Stadium, is hearing you the same time with the person. So this thing of thinking that you're talking to these people just here, hapa, we say, what you hear here, let it remain here. No. Ruto should know that anytime he picks a microphone, first of all, he has the press, State House press team that transmits live what he's saying. He should know that. Leave alone that. Other people who are attending, they have smartphones and they'll record that. So the thing of saying that, what do you say? They say that what occurs in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. Today, the whole world is a Las Vegas. So it remains the whole world. I may be wrong, but I strongly believe that after Ruto has addressed a public meeting, if one played the video of his speech, he is likely to be shocked. And he may insist and believe that whatever is being aired has been AI generated. Let me tell you, sincerely speaking, you know, when Ruto talks, sijui nini nini nini, and people cheer and whatever, I have said, and I'm going to repeat it again, that once he sits down and the sunroof is closed, most likely he has even forgotten what he talked there. Most important, he has forgotten what he has promised there. So that is why I'm saying that if anybody was to play the video on, if anybody was to play the video, he would say, nowadays, you know, youths have AI generated, so they are putting words into my mouth. What do you call, technology has improved a lot, tremendously, but I don't know how courts will prove things to do with AI. Apologies if I sound to be contradicting myself with each sentence. Sometimes I am blaming Ruto. Sometimes I'm blaming Ruto. The impunity that security people are doing passes several conflicting messages. During my time, it was unimaginable. Hey, the only defense you could have for doing something opposite with what the president has said was to prove beyond reasonable doubt that by the time you are doing that thing, you are not aware that the president had given an instruction. But on one hand, I say the impunity that the security people are doing passes several conflicting messages. Because during my time, the president cannot say, now we are going to have musamaha with the youth. And at the same time, the police are holding a young lady, NJERI, taking her to be in cells for 4 days. That is the opposite. And I've just said that during my time, doing something that goes contrary to what the public pronunciation of the president, you only had one excuse to say that you are not aware that the president had given a public. But once it is known, then the person is released immediately during our time. Now, are you trying to tell me that our time was better than today? Nyayo torture chamber days were better than today? Because during our time, we get the impression that you just get the impression that the president is against this. You don't do it. But the president also, in a prayer breakfast meeting, says he wants to ni msamaha kwa youth, wanarika, msamaha kwa wanarika. And then you you rush within 24 hours to get a mwanarika and place her in cells. Not even 24 hours, 4 days. On one hand, these junior officers who are either not aware of what, and on one hand, I ask myself, are these junior officers either not aware of what he is saying publicly, or is it impunity that they know nothing will happen to them? And even if they are painting the president in the negative, you see, especially those things that are called asasi za kisheria ama asasi za ulinzi. Let me call it the second time. Asasi za ulinzi. You are not supposed to be seen to be contradicting the president. But why is it that with the technology of today, these are not the days of 80s when the president would talk in Mandera and you in Lodwa will take a month to know what the president said. These are the things that even the junior officer at the other end of the country knows. Even the junior officer at the other end of the country knows what the president has said. And then the junior officer does the opposite of what the president said publicly, and nothing happens to him. Is it impunity that they know nothing will happen to them? Even if it is none other than but the president himself who is being painted negatively. But most likely, Either the president means what was talked was palaver. I think this is the whatever. A message must have passed in through the channels. Nyinyi fanyeni kazi yenyu. Unajua president ni commander in chief na president pia ni mwanasiasa. Sasa akiongea huko haongei kama commander in chief, anaongea kama mwanasiasa. Just what to say. So that is what I think the president's public meeting are headed to a place where they are going to be palaver. Palaver in Kiswahili is called gumzo. Gumzo. And that is where the name Wajer, you know Wajir? Wajir got the name from Wajer. That is a borehole where while you are waiting to do what brought you, that is water your animals. As you're waiting for your turn, you start a gumzo, you start a gumzo, you start a palava, you start a wajir, wajer. It is most likely that he himself, after being informed of the implications of his public utterances, tells them to do what they perceive as the best option. That is the only option. That is the only opinion I have, and it will be very hard to convince me otherwise, because a strong opinionated leader like Ruto, I would think that he would not want constables on the ground to show that he's a paperweight president. But most likely, Ruto, but most likely what I know is that Ruto is the type of person who tells you to come, discuss things freely, don't worry, say your thing, but most likely he hates people with alternative thoughts, but wants to be perceived as a Democrat who invites alternative thoughts. After all, what is public participation?